Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Modern Market, where every day we discuss all things to do with the modern market. That is the crypto market, the NFT market, and how to make some or a lot of money on the internet. Loaded up for discussion today, we have Aster continuing to surge, up 35% to $2.30. That's an $8 billion FDV. We'll be discussing Aster. Will be talking Tether, also aiming to raise $20 billion at a $500 billion valuation to become the most valuable private company in the world. And then finally, Stripe's Tempo chain announces the initial infrastructure partners. So a lot of important things to get into today. As usual, we'll be talking price action on crypto and NFTs and a general discussion of where we think the market is moving, where the attention is flowing. So stay tuned for that. I have Bread in the co-host seat with me today. We're ready to get into it, but just a reminder, friends, before we do, nothing that we say here is financial advice. This market is very, very risky. We do not know anything for sure. So please do proceed with caution and exercise your own judgment. One bit of housekeeping before we start, although I guess it doesn't matter because there is no spaces. Therefore, you can't hear me if you were in the space because it doesn't exist. But for whatever reason, Spaces is not working today. I forgot a cable on my travels. So without Legendary, there will be no Spaces, at least for the moment. He'll be back tomorrow, so don't worry about that. But I hope you enjoy your tour of our YouTube channel. But I think the video is actually going out on Twitter anyway. So you can still catch us on Twitter video, or you can catch us on YouTube. That is where we are streaming today. I hope that is okay. With that out of the way, Bread, it's Wednesday. It is the 24th of September. How are you doing, my man?
Good. We're fired up. I'm sleuthing the Twitter sphere to see if there's any lost souls that need to find their way to our YouTube channel. So, you know, I'm perusing over there. But overall, having a great time. I see, we're streaming right now? Like I see us streaming on X still? Okay. So we're not in Spaces, but we are streaming on X and YouTube.
I believe that is true. I believe that the thing you just said is true.
I see us. I see the little bubbles on X. We're there, I think.
There we go. Gosh, I cannot wait.
Not a total breakdown.
The next. Yeah, not a total breakdown actually. Yeah, you're right. So we are still on X. We're just not in the audio Spaces. Which I don't know if I think about this, Bread. People really love Spaces. There's still like hundreds of people who go and sit in the audio version, right?
Yeah. Bro, I treat it like a radio. I think it is very close to a modern day radio. All day I will people I don't know if it's like a soothing thing for me at this point. But people constantly talk like, bro, I don't know how the hell you do it. You're in so many Spaces all day. How do you like that? Plus you're tweeting, plus you work. And I actually think between Spaces and podcasts, it's detrimental to my head. Not that in the sense that like I'm very good at just like having humans talking in my ear and maybe not focusing directly on either the thing in front of me or the humans in my ear. So I'm very good at focusing on one of the two. And
but what do you think? Is this like some type of passive learning that you think is going to be going on then?
No, it's like if I'm listening to a podcast, I'm usually walking around, prepping food or doing something that I can focus on the thing in my ear. Or if I'm working, it's just like a thing that's going on in my ear. I don't focus. I'm not trying to take in information. It's usually like a very less information packed space where it's just like people talking, like people are just chattering, kind of talking about what's going on. So it's just like, it's kind of just like, anyway, something that's not like active, like rolling through headlines and doing a bunch of shit, right? It's kind of passive. Anyways, the reason I'm saying it's detrimental is because like I will be here at my home and I'm very good at blocking out human noises sometimes which it would be my girlfriend. And she gets pissed off at me and I'm like, I'm sorry. I think I've just honed the skill of being able to just like totally zone in on either what's going in my ears or what's in front of my face. Like, and sometimes it's usually like reading my phone or
so basically Bread has two inputs. There's two inputs. Like if you were
only one can be active.
There are two inputs and everything else is not possible.
I dial to 0 and 100. It has to go 100% one, 100% the other. And it's worked against me a few times, I'll say.
Very, very binary in that respect. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. That is interesting. I've actually, before we get into the main stuff today, I'm kind of in a silence phase of life. Like if I'm in the gym, I used to be plugged in. I think I've told guys this before, but I'm in a silence phase, and I'm really, really trying when I'm just hanging out, walking around, even just sitting, doing some work. I'm trying to just turn everything off. Like I'm desperate for silence at the moment. I don't know. Is that I don't know if it's odd or if it's not odd, but I'm just finding a bit more peace in silence. And I don't know, the audio all the time. I'm feeling like extra stimulated maybe, and I just need to turn it down. I don't know how you feel about it.
I know.
Does being in silence make you feel odd then?
No, not odd, but it resonates with me. I recall probably about 2 months ago, 3 months ago, when I was in the gym and I opted for just like the music I used to listen to as opposed to the podcasts that I've been trying to cram in, just like to constantly listen to stuff. And I realized that the outcome of that workout is usually much, much more intentional, right? Like I'm focused on the act of working out as opposed to like stopping between a set because it's an interesting thing that makes me want to tweet, that makes me want to like do whatever. So I told myself no more podcasts in the gym, which I've tried to uphold. And I think that same principle probably applies broadly to just like everything, right? Try to be intentional and in the moment of whatever it is you're doing. If you're walking down the street, you're observing the stuff around you. If I have my dog, I'm really focused on my dog and like trying to train her properly and like give her the tips and guidance and whatever that she needs. So I think that's probably a little bit of what you're touching on.
Indeed. Indeed. Right. Before we get into the main stuff, let's just say hello to some of these YouTube commenters. We've got some more people in here today. Good morning to Murray, Andrew, David, Kiobra 609, Atari, Inspire English. That's a new name. Welcome. Calv Trades, fudding us for being Hyperliquid maxis and missing out on Aster. I'm pretty sure I traded it all the way up and made money on it over the weekend. So looking for another entry though, to be fair, Calv. So yeah, I'm open to getting back into that. Deedon69, Dim, welcome. Corona's back in the mix. We've got a lot of people here. Mick, welcome. Yeah, good to see. Good to see a lot of people on the YouTube. Zane, good morning. Good to see Zane in the YouTube comments as well. Haven't chatted to him in a while. Brad, thoughts on this Hyperliquid maxi accusation? What do you think about that as we get into this? I mean, we're going to talk Hyperliquid versus Aster again today. We were talking about it not so long ago. A quick thought on that before we hit the headlines and get into that bigger conversation in a bit.
It's so funny that I'm like simultaneously Hyperliquid's biggest fudder, but also the maxi. By the way, like I got on a call yesterday with a team that's building on Mega, and like once I got on the call, the dude is like, "Bro, I love your Hyperliquid tweets," and he's like, and I was like, "What are you talking?" Like I haven't even really even tweeted about him recently. He's like, "Bro, I have so many friends, and some of them are Hyperliquid whales. They're like." They fucking hated you because of like the FUD stuff I would do against Hyper EVM being low throughput and all this stuff. And he's like, they hated you. They thought you were dumb, whatever. And he's like, now they're coming back to me like, bro, he was right. He was right. He's like, it sucks building over there. Like it's slow. It can't do like all these things. Or like, it's not great. And like, can't believe he was right. And like, now they're like, this guy knows what he's talking about. He's cool. Build your credibility. It's like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not just saying shit. Like I'm trying to have the conversation. I think this, like people are doing this. I'm saying anyways. Yeah, I am a little bit.
One quick point there, Brad, before, and then I want to carry on. One thing I've realized in the space when you express, look, you're expressing like an aspect to a take, right? It's a nuanced take because you're saying there's a negative aspect to building in this ecosystem.
Not even negative. It's just like this is the reality.
Whilst being incredibly invested, right? Like you have a ton of hype. And so it can work both ways. Like there can be negative aspects of ecosystems, but what I'm learning more and more, which maybe should be obvious in the space, like when someone becomes, it's not actually us that's the maxi of anything because we're expressing like that nuanced thing. It's the people fudding us that are the maxis because they've got something which they're holding up as like the main thing, and we're not going all in on it like them. That's the maxi. It's not us that's the maxi.
You would be surprised how many times I'm trying to engage on Twitter and I realize I can't quote tweet or like someone's stuff because they've already blocked me because they're like because of something I said in the past about Hyperliquid.
Imagine blocking Bread. It's like so much good information and takes. Like you got to be able to absorb good information and the variety of takes. That's my thought. Go on. Final one, Bread, before we hit the headlines.
Yeah, no, okay. So like I just like I would actually consider myself a little bit of a hyperliquid maxi, like in like a revenue maxi. I will continue to watch both it and pump. I see a little bit of a breakout here for pump, trying to break away from these lows that it has recently claimed. So we're gonna hope that that continues an uptrend. Yeah, I think Hyperliquid is the alpha, all these other perp dexes are the beta, and like you have to acknowledge things like Aster because of the people behind it. But on a pure product and like momentum, mindshare, whatever position, I over the years have learned that you don't try to chase the beta too hard. Now, that's not to say I don't have bags in some like betas that I think are way down there that like if it hits, it's gonna hit well. Um, but, like, I did this with Friend.Tech too. Like, I tried to stay really disciplined, and I think it would have worked out had Friend.Tech not been a pile of shit. But, like, the psychological aspect of, like, all of these other products came out after Mindshare was won by Friend.Tech. They ultimately waxed and waned, and then, it all comes back. So, like, I think we're in that same phase right now with Hyperliquid, where everyone is flooding it right now. It's getting a little beat up. You know, everyone's afraid of the unlocks. I feel like things are just starting to stack up, but fundamentals are there, man. And yeah, so I'll take it.
Okay. Good stuff. Right. Let's get into the roundup. Get you up to speed with
Yeah,
everything that you
I gotta
need to
go
know
with
today.
you, right? You can't share your screen, so I gotta follow along locally, right?
You can do, unless you could share your screen while we do this.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
possible. You wanna what do we do? You wanna guide me a little bit?
Let me give you the two token websites,
Okay.
and then we'll go through the roundup, which is actually this new format is going to mess it all up. Let's do it without today. Apologies,
Okay.
guys. You're just
Okay.
gonna have to look at mine and Bread's faces the whole show. You're gonna have to use your imagination. We talk about investing with
We'll
some
do the YouTube
imagination these
thumbnails.
days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Really expressive.
We talk about investing with some imagination. Now you're going to have to watch with some imagination today as we navigate some technical issues. But look, let's get to the main stuff to get you up to with everything that you need to know today. And then we're going to get into the big conversations. First, starting with the major price action. As usual, we've got Bitcoin flat at $113,000. That is down 3% on the week. ETH is flat at almost 4,200. That's down around 7% on the week. XRP is flat at $2.88. BNB is up 2%, back over $1,000. Once again, outperforming all the majors. CZ is king in the market right now. Solana's down 2% to 212. And we have Hyperliquid down 6% to 44.88, down 20% on the week. Realistically, the big the big loser of the week in terms of price action as this kind of battle with Aster is taking place. We'll discuss that in more detail in a moment. Getting into the meme coin prices to get you up to speed there. We've got Doge up 1% to 24 cents. Pepe is up 1%. Pengu's up a couple. Pretty muted on the meme coin side, actually. If I'm looking at this at a glance, Fartcoin's basically flat, WIF's flat. Rect is down 3%, but Mog's up 4%. So, I think we're kind of waiting here to pick the direction with ETH at 4.2 and Bitcoin at 112. Everyone's talking about this as being decent, a key level to decide if we're going to go much lower or much higher, which is maybe an obvious thing to say, but we're definitely in a point of, people trying to decide which way to turn here. Brad, you're finding something entertaining as I say this before we hit the headlines
Yeah,
and
I
the
mean,
roundup. What do you want to come in with?
yeah, the memes are playing their beta role, right? Like I just find it kind of funny. You're like, it's not so bad. But like I look across the board, everything's like 12 to 25%, like getting knocked on the head. Whereas in the majors, it's, on the 7-day. And then for the majors, it's anywhere between what is it, like 5 and 10%. So like they're definitely getting outsized smacked over the head relative to some of their more dominant brethren outside of like a Hyperliquid. But yeah, like they are what they are. Avalanche is Avalanche and BNB are the only ones that I see are green on the 7-day. Everything else is kind of just doing its thing. I recall my moment on Friday. Friday was the day of the liquidations, or was that Monday? That was Monday. Monday was the day of the liquidations, and I recall having the feeling of like, this is one of those days. I even said it on the show, I was like, this is one of those days where it's like it spikes down. You almost anytime you buy massive liquidations, you're going to turn out in the profit because it spikes down so hard. Like,
Yeah,
I
such
think
an aggressive liquidation. Yeah.
it's just it's usually just like such an E plus EV play. Just buy the bottom of something like that, and you're going to win out majority of the time. And I even said on the call, I was like, okay, guys, you guys are like, this is a big day. It feels like an event. It's a big liquidation. I haven't had one of these in a while. Are you guys buying? I think that was a little bit of a bottom buy. Like, yeah, I'm starting to see a lot of things bounce back well. Yeah, I think we melt up from here. I think we had to get that out of our system, reduce some leverage. I survived barely on some of my longs. They tried to hunt me a little bit with some wicks, but I levered up a little bit, and or not levered up, but I brought in some margin, so we're chilling now. I don't know. I think we're back in the cruiser seat for the rest of the year.
Well, I think that's quite optimistic. I would actually love the thing that I want to do. I actually shorted Hype yesterday and then again took it off because I need to stop taking off my shorts. I want like a better position for my shorts.
How levy are you getting though?
Not a lot. I like setting things where the insurance for me, I see this shorts as an insurance. Like I obviously hold a lot of Hype, but this thing with Aster is notable. Like you gotta respect what is taking place. Whatever you think about the product, I think you need to understand that this is
240 right now.
Yeah, you got to understand that this is like a real battle for this activity. So I wanted to short just as an insurance, just like the way I was shorting ETH from 4.4. And I try to set the leverage to a point where if the token goes back to its all-time high, then I'll get liquidated. And I was like, okay, cool. Or if it goes like past its all-time high, then great. The rest of my bags will have gone up sufficiently. And if I get liquidated,
So you have a position in Aster?
Not at the moment. So I'm going to get one.
Your only hedge for Aster doing well and Hype bleeding a little bit is shorting Hype.
Correct. But I took the Hype one off as well, because I'm not holding the moment. I need to get better at that. It's not something I've traditionally done a lot of, and I need to get better at that.
So I think Hype is large enough you're not gonna have to worry about like a violent move that like catches you offside, and like I think you'll constantly be able to evaluate that position if you're constantly like active day in and day out. That's something that like has kind of sucked for me the last few days. Like Monday, I had that feeling of I want to stay aware of this stuff, and I wanted to trade it because it was a violent move, and I felt like like had you hyped or jumped into basically anything in either direction from there, like and just continued the trend, you probably would have done well. Like my ENA stuff continued to bleed, like that position would have done well. If you were an Aster, it would have continued to trend up. Like everything, that was the moment, and then they were going to trend for a little bit based on that. Just like had to pick their direction. But I've been so fucking busy with work, and I was a solo dad with 2 dogs like the last few days. Allison just got home yesterday. That like now I can finally look at the market and maybe put on some positions, but I feel like I've missed the move a little bit, and that makes me mad. I haven't been able to babysit a lot of shit. I just topped up my margin and like had to go to work. So that's
one reflection here is that the velocity of the stuff is moving much faster. And look, it doesn't matter what people want to say or what they want. One of my general perspectives for the world and the market actually is you've got to trade the market as it is and not what you want it to be. Everyone always wants to be bullish in this space because, you know, you can buy the asset and it could just go up forever. And it's like, okay, wonderful. And I just think the velocity with which the even if you're noticing like the trades are getting, you know, you got to be faster. People are trying to like be a bit more frantic. There's a lot of frantic behavior. There's a lot of nonsensical stuff happening as well.
Yeah, I mean, think about the last month. We had DATS, we had revenue meta, we had you know, the perp stuff. Like every one of those is like waxed and then waned in the same, like had a meta already.
Yeah, and you know, my general thinking is like, look, you can't really time the top. Just sell a bit over and over again. And I'm of the opinion that over the next few months into next year, I'm a net seller of crypto. And one of the and you know, again, there's like core position like Bitcoin in my mind. I'm not a seller of at all, for example. And then, you know, I'm still going to monitor the rest of the stuff. But like, if there's other things which I'm in, it's not holds for a long period of time for me at the moment. Like the goal is to stack maybe USDC and maybe gold at the moment. I don't know, because I'm pretty happy with my Bitcoin stack. So that's just the way I'm thinking about it at the moment. Like, I'm a net seller. I want to be responsible. I've been through one crash before where I saw what was basically 7 figures in NFT version number 1 turn into, you know, half of that. And I don't want to experience such an aggressive drawdown. I want to be exposed to the market properly, but also, you know, just keep taking profits, keep paying yourself. I think that's the game you want to play in this industry long term, because it keeps you in the game for the long term. But it depends what you're going for. Some people want to go for the home run, the multiple home runs, like right here, right now. That's one strategy. I think it's also a strategy that is glorified in this space, but I think there is a long-term option as well, which is something maybe slightly more similar to how we are looking at things. Eddie asked in the comments, why are you all of a sudden bearish? It's not really bearish. Well, I mean, there's a bunch of nonsensical things happening. I think a lot of the DATs are not necessarily, like, we keep going down the risk curve with DATs. So you've got like, okay, you've got the Bitcoin, like it's the same thing that happened with alts previously. You go down the risk curve, and we're doing that exact thing with all the DATs, and then the ones higher up in the tier are getting exhausted. I don't think profits are getting rotated back into Sol or Bitcoin or ETH or whatever. I think the velocity of capital around all the other trades that are getting put on is moving much faster, and so I'm not like guaranteed bearish. What I am is, I want some insurance. That's what I want. I want insurance. And I didn't need insurance when Bitcoin was at 70K. Like, I didn't need insurance there, because I thought we, you know, definitively going much higher in a much bigger way. At 120K, at 115K, could I do with some insurance? Sure. Because that's part of my strategy. The way that I've built up over time is to be relatively responsible based in crypto standards. Maybe in normal standards, I'm completely irresponsible as well. But in general, I'm looking for some insurance at these, you know, close to all-time highs. So look, I'm just trying to sketch out my thinking. I would be very happy. And you know, there is a world in which I think Bitcoin goes to 130, 140, 150, which would be fantastic. And so I'd be happy with that. So, and I'm positioned for that as well. So, you know, trying to play both sides. I need an Aster position though, ASAP. So let's think about that as we get into that conversation. Brett, final take before.
Yeah, so this is actually a take on your take. So whenever you're saying, okay, I'm a net seller the next couple of months, whatever, I was like, okay, what are you selling into, right? Because I think the consensus right now is that dollars is not necessarily the best thing to be holding on to. It's better than most dollar or most fiat currencies, but like, is it really something that you want to hold? And then that got me thinking of like, I think right now, if I try to sell into like a wealth preservation position over the next 6 months, I probably go gold. I think that's probably where I put most gold of my, I've never been a gold bug ever, but like
me neither.
Ever. I think it's stupid. I have friends that have been collecting the actual physicals for a very long time. And I'm just like, that is redacted. Like, why would you do, like, I don't get it. And especially in a digital age, it's like, I don't even want the physical shit. I want to like literally just like, even if it's a proxy ETF, or even there's a couple of products inside of the crypto sphere that try to mirror gold's price, I will probably try to get into those positions, at least with some, like whenever I also try to stable up or try to like get out of risk assets, I probably go gold. And I was listening to Bits and Bips is actually a pretty good podcast. It's about people who are kind of similar to us, where we're like, it's a little bit of macro, a little bit of crypto and talking about, but they're much heavier macro TradFi. And they had a guest on talking about how brutal the DAT unwinding is actually going to be. And what they illuminated for me is how fucking mercenary TradFi will be whenever it gets to the point where they can actually go after some of these DATs, knowing that our ecosystem is reflexive, both up and down, and like just how ruthless they will be to try to create and cause these DATs to get into a position where they have to go down, and they can short them and they can profit off them going to zero with haste. So That has me a little worried. I know we were kind of talking about like, oh, they're actually pretty stable. There's like not a lot going on. But just like if the underlying prices of these tokens do not continue to go up to kind of prop up the DATs themselves, and when we get to a point where the big dogs are in trouble, like we're talking like the Bitcoins and the Ethereums, that whenever they're in established positions, whenever they start showing like really, really strong weakness, it's funny, outsized weakness, like there's going to be some big boys with a lot of money that are going to do whatever the hell they can to make sure that all of these DATs go to zero, and the weaker ones are going to get absolutely clobbered, because like, these guys just have a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of financial mechanisms to do it, and legal mechanisms. Here they're talking about how like they're like, I've seen the inner workings of a lot of these systems. Like, bro, if you want to, like I've literally seen companies go after each other, or traders go after companies, and where they will sue the company, sue everyone from the board, and like just basically exhaust the entire like structure of the like financial team, to the point where like it has to collapse, and because they can profit off shorting the thing. So like just how ruthless those people can actually be is like, all right, this is going to happen. We don't know when, but like it's likely going to happen with vigor.
Yeah, indeed. And I think one of the other aspects that people are underrating is, I think, the regulatory situation has never been better, basically, which is making people, I think, uncomfortably comfortable. Like it's too comfortable to just say it's never been better regulatorily.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an easy thing to say. And I agree. Like, look, it's fantastic. All these people who used to have to go offshore don't need to do that now. You can actually build in America. That's excellent. Like, that is really good. It doesn't mean that bubbles can't happen, and doesn't mean that bubbles, like, you can't go into some type of speculative mania, which means that different things are going to pull back. And so the question I keep asking myself is, the way I think about it is, where are the profits going to go? Like when Aster goes to, or does what it's done, and maybe continues to do what it's do, where are you going to take your profits and move them into Bitcoin or ETH or Sol or Hype or anything else? Like, what are people doing with this profit at this point in the cycle, which is Bitcoin up, I don't know what, like 4x off the lows, 5x off the lows? Like, are you going into gold? Are you going into Bitcoin? Are you going into other stuff? And I just get a sense that a lot of people will take those profits and hold dollars because of where we are. And maybe they'll do a bit of gold, and maybe they'll do a bit of Bitcoin as well. But I do think there's a bit of hubris at the moment. Bob Witt asked in the comments, how do you get gold exposure in crypto? So you have Tether USD. That's one option. I think that the ticker is XAUT, which you can get, I believe, on all the main blockchains. You can get it on Hyperliquid as well. You can get it elsewhere. And I think there's Pax Gold as well. Pax G. Yep. So you got to definitely double check that if you wanted some gold, that would be
that one.
The trusted way to do it at the moment. Obviously, there's some trust assumptions that you're doing it when you're not buying the physical stuff yourself. That would be the way to do it on chain.
That one's got a little 5xer on Hyperliquid that I've thought about just doing a low.
You got a long gold.
Honestly, man, if this thing's going to continue to melt up, like,
might do that as
if you can chill in it, like what? Let me see what the funding is for it. I was just looking at it. Funding for it is 0.0013%. So funding isn't crazy. Yeah, like if you could just chill in that thing and 5x it for the next, I don't know, 3 months, I bet you're probably Gucci. Especially we have another rate cut coming this year, maybe 2. I think it's 1 more this year and then 2 more planned next year. And it looked, I mean, bro, the daily has been basically up only since the middle of August. So about a full month, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red candles over the last month. It's just been melting.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, final question from the comments. Love the energy in the YouTube today. I know we're not on Spaces, so we're getting a bit more energy here, and then we want to get to the headlines because that's important too. Discuss your gold position from Bob Witt. How much percentage of your portfolio? Maybe what's the bull case for gold? Not going to do the bull case for gold. I think China is just obsessed with gold at the moment. There's more news on that later. So look, all the central banks are stacking gold. They're trying to diversify away from the States. In terms of gold position, I think Legendary said yesterday he's at about 10% of port. I'm at like 1. I've never been a gold person, and like 1's just too low. Like, irrespective of other decisions, it just needs to be higher. So that's my take. I just need to increase my percentage. It's only at 1, which is pathetic, frankly. So
0
it needs,
right now for me.
yeah. So it just needs to be higher in this world that we're going into. Like, it can't be 1. Maybe I might want to move it to 10. That will be a lot for me, but you know, I need to take steps in that direction, I think. Right, we got to get to the headlines now because there's a lot of good stuff to talk about. Give you the full roundup first, and then we'll get into the bigger discussion. We've got Aster continuing to surge up 35% to $2.30. I think Brad said it's gone even higher, but he will break down what's going on there. We've got Tether aiming to raise $20 billion at 500 bill valuation to become the most valuable private company in the world. I'll tell you what you need to know there, and maybe we'll have a short consideration of what that means for Plasma, if anything, which is launching tomorrow. It's actually trading down at 7 bill FDV at the moment, so we'll touch on that. And we got Stripe, it's Tempo Chain announcing their initial infrastructure partners. So we will touch on that too. Some other notable price actions. Stable, which is the old co-founder of Tether's token, is up 36% to 45 cents, 4.5 bill. That has been an absolute cook as well, which maybe has gone a little bit under the radar compared to other things. So congrats to the people in that trade. In terms of the rest of the news, quick hits. We've got SBF account returning with a good morning. Allegedly, a friend is in charge of the account. FTT, the token, pumped as a consequence. We just need a few more criminals from the past cycle to confirm the bearishness. If you're asking why I'm getting a little bit bearish, well, SBF, his account's back. CZ's going after Hyperliquid. And let's see what other villainous characters come back from the past. Not saying CZ's in that category, by the way, but SBF coming back is some type of indicator, even if it's not himself. Stable announces 100% of minting fees will be routed back into Stable through premium buybacks. USD AI cap raised their cap from 250 million to 500 million. That was filled yesterday. That's an interesting protocol which is going to be launching on Plasma. Archetype announces a $100 million crypto venture fund. I think there's another crypto venture fund announced yesterday as well, showing that there's still appetite to get involved in this space. That does happen a lot when prices are high. So that is interesting, I would say. IP of the official Pink Fong company, mascot known for Baby Shark, has been tokenized on Story Protocol. We touched on some of the pretty impressive IP that Story Protocol has managed to bring over to its chain yesterday. Legendary was speaking on that. Can't argue with the IP that they've brought over. The price action on the token has been insane. A lot of people have been commenting on the revenue. It is not mattering for the token price at the moment, and maybe a lot of value being attached to this IP, plus maybe some excellent tokenomics and supply control. OpenSea partners with BZ to add 2K burnable vouchers for Pokemon and Labubu rewards pool. C5 fund, S fund token crashes after there was a bit of a hack. There was a large hack in that arena. And finally, Peak announces the first tokenized robo farm. Expected APY is 20%. That's something I definitely want to bring to people's attention. I have not done the full due diligence there. I know Legendary owns a little bit of Peak potentially. Something I'm always interested in robotics, so want to take a look at that, I think, in a bit more detail. But with that out of the way, Brad, before we get to the main stuff today, we're running a little bit late, so we only got 20 minutes left. Any quick shout out or any call you want to make before we just get into the main headlines?
No, you covered a lot of it. Something came up as you were going through it, but I didn't want to interrupt you because you were riffing pretty well. But we're already late. Let's roll into the headlines and we can talk a little bit about.
Let's do it then. Let's tell us. I think this is the thing that people want to probably get to as well. Aster has continued to surge. What do we need to know, Brad, about Aster in general? Just set the scene. What has happened? Where is it now? And how are you viewing this competition with Hyperliquid?
Yeah, man. I mean, if you're living under a rock and you don't know what Aster is or what's going on with it, Aster itself is a claimed to be decentralized exchange, perpetuals exchange, launched on BNB chain, endorsed by Mr. CZ himself, sole funded by, yeah, I mentioned dark pools. Yep, mentioned by CZ and invested in by YZ Labs, which is basically the Binance Labs arm. The thing that they tout, you mentioned here from YouTube comments, is dark pools, right? Like CZ's initial criticism of Hyperliquid during the James Wynn moments, whenever he had center stage, was that like, oh, this is always going to be the outcome because everyone can see your stuff. It's all totally open and transparent. No one likes that. Big traders hate it. Whatever. You get your positions hunted by everyone. So he advocated for dark pools even back then. I'm assuming the Aster team embraced that a little bit and leaned into it. And now CZ is touting them as like the their BNB's Hyperliquid, right? Binance is Hyperliquid. Now, that said, that caught wind about a week ago. It has went from basically zero to now infinite money. It is, let me look at the, you know what? I hate that on a lot of these perp platforms that they don't actually show market cap or they don't actually show market cap or FDV or anything. It's all literally just like you're playing the chart.
Yeah, you gotta look at open another thing, right, to look at it.
It's so crazy. But anyways, it's right now at about 3.8 mil. Our bill market cap fully diluted at 18.6 bill. Now, why that's notable, that huge gap there, is that the theory is that CZ and or Binance and or the team owns basically 95% of the token. That's a low float thing that's sitting out there in the ecosystem. So even the market cap, or maybe even portion of that market cap, is actually, it's much more suppressed. I saw even some tweets over the weekend where like, technically it's only like $500,000 worth of this shit that's actually available for the market to buy and play with, which is probably why we're seeing this up only price action the last few weeks. Because to be frank, the product itself is not the best relative to a lot more mature products in the ecosystem. But does that really matter? No, because of the narrative, and two, the people that can give it distribution and draw attention to it. If you look at the 24-hour revenues, it's actually stacked up at number 2 right now. Going to the, let's see, they all yield from USDT backing assets, investments. Oh no, sorry, treasury and token holder revenue. So yeah, they're just under $10 million in 24-hour revenue, 12 million on the 7-day. So they're starting to actually pick up a lot of steam now that they've gained traction, and the platform itself has got marketing from their price action and making people a lot of money. Do I think it's something that you should continue to play? Probably have a position in. Like you had mentioned a few times that like you wish you had something. I know I played it a little bit over the weekend, but I wasn't sure how big the staying power is, right? If you try to like look at what everyone is trying to do. You did what?
I did over the weekend.
Yeah, I got in and out of a position, made a couple $1,000s, and like, okay, I just like scratched the itch so I wouldn't make a stupid decision and get caught off sides. It's continued just to be like up only. It had a little bit of pullback after it hit the $2 psychological number, bled down to like 120, 140, and then has now been melting back up now at 230. Yeah, it's, everyone is looking for a Hyperliquid of X chain, right? So you have a Hyperliquid of Base, which is what people are calling Avantis, which is at a TGE, of Hyperliquid. You have Aster of Binance, and then you have a few that are trying to claim it on Solana. So I think of all of those, it's the one that has the distribution being CZ and like the infinite money and like the good marketing. That is a good, like, price go up is the best tech, right? So when you have people
also,
that
is that perfect example
of
sorry, go on, you go.
No, I like that was basically it. It's just like the motives are there, the people like are beyond like needing the pump and dump to actually like survive. So then the question becomes, how high do you think they will pump it and or the market will pump it to then justify a position? Because like I don't like it based on fundamentals. I don't think it's a better product. It's not actually on chain, so it's basically just like a sexdex like hybrid thing. Like none of it's on chain, right? Like BNB chain cannot support the high volumes that a Hyperliquid does. It just cannot do it, and it has not pumped in TPS since doing it. So like the majority of their stuff is actually off chain. So like
okay.
So if you're trying to have like a Hyperliquid competitor, it's not actually that. It's more like an extension of Binance in its current form. So does it matter? Probably not. But that's the reality of the matter right now.
Okay, excellent information. We'll talk a little bit about that now. So a couple of additional points. They claim that there has been $21 billion in perp volume during the past 24 hours. That is $12 billion more than on Hyperliquid. Lots of people have suggested that might be a little bit of wash trading / volume. Remember, we spoke yesterday about how they have instigated this very short window, which is excellent marketing and excellent just
bro, it's 2.5 more than Hyperliquid.
I know, it's insane. So look, whatever percentage is themselves like doing some, which might be the case, but they probably have attracted a reasonable amount of normal volume as well, because we spoke about yesterday how they've given this really short window for season 2 airdrop. So they've got, I can't remember the exact date. Maybe, in fact, I should probably be able to find it here, just scrolling through their main account. But the date is really, really short. It's like,
so we're just trying to capitalize on the moment.
Yeah, here we go. Aster Genesis Stage 2 will end on October the 5th.
So
that's like
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So they've given you like, right, 2 weeks, go crazy right here, right now. This token is up only. So the value of that airdrop is going to continue to increase. I mean, maybe you're getting diluted by the fact that there's so much wash trading, or if there is wash trading, there's incredible amounts of volume going through. So it's going to be hard to get a meaningful portion of it. But they've given people a very, very tight window. And an interesting comment that was made by DFarmer, a very prominent trader who I respect a great deal, said this. He said, and again, apologies, not being able to do the share screen as much today. You're just going to have to watch our faces only. But he said this: I'm the biggest Hyperliquid fan and have a very big position. Sounds like me at the moment. Just as a premise, I love the ethos, the platform, the incredible execution. That said, every single .hl on the timeline keeps yelling, everyone farming, moving to Lito or Aster is so wrong. The next HL airdrop is going to be the biggest one of them all, with 40% still to distribute. He said, yes, maybe. The thing is, no one knows when, how, and if this will happen, with the majority actually hinting at a burn of the remaining supply. I've seen that conversation be put around later.
Did you guys talk about that?
We didn't in great deal, but that was an idea that's got a little bit of traction, right? Like, look, maybe we don't need to distribute more, just get rid of the supply, and then that might moon the token as people can stop thinking that there's going to be all this sell pressure. So the point is here that the market is telling everyone that clarity goes a long way, is his point. And so, look, liquidity is mercenary in this space, or at least it can be, even if you are a believer of something. He says moats in crypto are close to non-existent, and vamps are the bread and butter of every single DeFi innovation. It's not the first time something gets vampire attacked. So I guess the question is, look, what's the response here? Aster have come out and said, like, look, you got a 2-week window, go crazy with it. We're going to keep making the price go up. And so that airdrop is going to be super valuable right here, right now, in 2 weeks. What is the response of Hyperliquid to that? Is there going to be able to be a response? I know if you think about this strategically, and I like to put my strategic hat on / the tinfoil hat that I've been accused of at the moment. Right now, Hyperliquid are busy. They're in Korea. I've seen the team on stage. I think they've got Singapore next week. It's back to back. Busy. Like, I don't know that this was something that people would have necessarily had to be, assessing or making a decision on. But I feel like maybe the hand is getting a little bit forced here, right, Brad? Do you think that? Are you leaning towards DeFarmer's assessment? He's like, look, guys, you got to address this. You can't just, maybe when there was no competition, you can just stay silent and everyone's just using Hyperliquid, and that's fine. But what's your view there?
I think you can't speed run a lot of the stuff that Hyperliquid has built up. So I don't think because like I'm looking at the metrics and like, okay, this perp volume stuff, how organic is it? How sustainable is it? Like what are people going to interpret this stuff? I see this as like, this is all-time high cumulative perp volume on the 24-hour, right? The previous all-time high we had for a single day before the Aster saga was 43 billion in cumulative volume. That was back in August, and it was largely driven by Hyperliquid, who had like 28 billion of that, right? So a majority. We are now hitting numbers that are, yesterday was 52 billion and now it's at 58 billion. So we're probably going to have some like, so this is net new perp volume, which makes me think like one, or ask the question of, do we honestly think there's net new people doing this stuff, or it is just someone that's like pumping the charts because they're farming, right? So because it matters, because that means like that's not a sustainable thing. It's literally just people doing it for a reason. Now, that does not change the fact that it is other people will interpret that and say like, oh my God, it's blowing things out of the water, and it'll get them bowled up, convicted, think that Aster is changing DeFi as we know it. So like, I don't think Hyperliquid needs to do anything. Just keep doing what it's doing. It's got enough going on. I think the ecosystem, the momentum, the actual structure of the chain is different than all of these competitors, and I don't see it as a problem, because liquidity is actually pretty sticky. Like, yes, there is a level of mercenary capital to it, but when you have the likes of like a CBB who has been building over there for now literal months and has bots and like contracts, and he has an established basically farm ecosystem over there, like that's not going to pick up and move to Aster, right? So a lot of the stuff that they've picked up over the last few months will stick around, and I think it makes me ask the question, do I want to chase something that is based on hype and momentum, which is honestly something that I'm not been historically great at, or something that I think is fundamentally strong?
I think that's the core question, right? And I would maybe argue, maybe a slight disagreement with you in the way that you're viewing it is that, so I think you're saying this is hyper momentum, and therefore that's not something you would normally look at. I'm saying, sure, there is an element of it which is hyper momentum, but I just think if CZ is involved and that's something that they decide to push, that almost gives it automatically the fundamental, and yeah, fine, the product is whatever it is. Apparently Hyperliquid at the beginning as well, like, wasn't the perfect product. They've had to iterate on it. So I feel like they inject it with the fundamental.
Yeah.
Yes, there's hyper momentum, and there's an aspect of it being fundamental, and therefore it's worth
price is the product. Like, and if they can manufacture the price,
I mean, maybe initially, but I just think the CZ involvement and the participation there gives it automatic credibility and staying power, basically. And sure, there's going to be all kinds of other stuff going on as well.
So let's talk about it. 3.8 billion. Hyperliquid right now is sitting up at what is it, 12.3 billion. And we're talking market caps, because I think like a lot of these FDVs are like, especially if we're talking short-term trade, short-term in the span of weeks to maybe a month or two, like FDV is a meme, right? Like if we're talking about how quickly the price can actually move, that means Hyperliquid right now is still a 4x, 5x away from an Aster. So what do you think the market is going to do? The market's going to see the volumes. It's going to see the farming. It's going to see probably more CZ tweets. He's been doing it basically daily. Do you think the market is going to sit there and stack these two? Because like, it's trouncing Hyperliquid right now, trouncing it. It's
purely on
volume,
the volume number, right?
And fees and like revenue. So it's right now, both, like everything is up only in Aster. So do you think the market is sophisticated enough to go into like our depths and go like, oh, well, it's nice, but long term, it's, is whatever? Or do you think it's going to go, bro, look, it's 5 times the numbers on this, or 5 times the price, but doing half the volume of an Aster? Which one do I want to buy? Like, if through that lens on a short-term trade, like the people are going to do exactly what I just did. They're going to say, bro, it is 5 times the market cap. Yep. And it's doing 2.5 the volume, 2.5 the revenue. Like, Aster's the future of France, clearly. They're going to close that gap. Either going to close it by bringing hype down, or they're going to close it by bringing Aster up.
And it could be a little bit of both, right? It could be a little bit of both. Hype's down 20, 30%, 25% or so. in the last
I'm
7
surprised at
days.
the level at which people are rotating out of hype. I think obviously it's not purely the
Well,
Aster stuff. A lot of that is the unlock shit that like, Arthur Hayes came out and did the FUD campaign after like LOL JK 128x presentation that he did. The question for me is how close do you think they pull those together? I don't think Aster will flip hype, but I do think like the market's going to try to pull them closer.
yeah, I feel, I think it's going to pull them closer. Definitely want to reflect on that a bit more. I think
it feels almost like the pump hype. We had this conversation with pump hype, and then we went and bought it right after. Whenever you just like stack those two things up against each other, and to like, admittedly, I hadn't done it like deeply. I had just like kept looking at Aster, like, guys, I don't know. And you look at Aster relative to itself, rather than relative to all of its comps in the ecosystem, which is what everyone does. Everyone just looks at the comps and says, should X be Y? So this is my first time actually like truly comping the two. And whenever you see those two things stacked up, okay, maybe it's going to be up only season for a little bit.
Also, okay, final point on this. Actually, we're already at time, and I want to give people the main headlines on the Tether news because it is pretty big, and then maybe we can do away with the final one because I think those are the two main things. But like, also the thing in crypto, the thing that you kind of need to do at all times, or I think when you end the year, you want to be able to look back and say that you participated in the main games of the year.
Yeah.
And so like I don't think you can not be in this game, like taking one of the positions. You can't just be like, oh, I really like hype and I'm just gonna hold my hype. And like, what I mean, look, if the goal is to make money, you've got to take a view here and do something. So for example, we traded Aster over the weekend, made money on it. Now there's like, further information, the airdrop news came out, getting some more confirmation, you're getting more information. Now, what's the next view? And I think we're like in the process of figuring that out live, and like what the next move we want to make is. But I generally think this is, as people have probably already established, and the fact that it's gone up so fast so quickly, this is part of it's going to be one of the big games and big conversations on a continuous basis, not just going to disappear. I don't think so. You've got to come up with a view and take a position, I think. And my view is going to be take a position in Aster. Start with a touch, and then if it goes down, probably buy more.
Do you think you're going to put on your hype short again?
I don't want to at this price. I'd love for it to go up a bit more, as always. I also don't. I also prefer shorting ETH for some reason, because I think the DAT's exhausted. Whereas I think hype, if you follow MLM, which is an awesome Telegram account that's been reporting on this stuff, individual buyers and sellers can manipulate the hype price. Like literally, there can be someone, and there are literal reports of this, right? Like, so I'm going to share my screen just for a second. It's not going to look great.
You could pretty easily say like Hayes manipulated it with all his stuff, right?
So look, here's one point that was made where they said someone sold 378,000 hype. That's 17 million today, including 200,000 hype, 9 million within 50 minutes, about 1.5 hours ago. You can see all the sell positions. You can see how like that one individual is absolutely like tanking the price. So like, I don't like the idea of shorting an asset, which A, I like, but B, on the downside and on the upside, it seems like one or two people can move it. And especially because it's like this specific conflict between Aster and hype, like maybe there are people who are incentivized to play around with it if they're incentivized to do so. So I don't like shorting hype here. I would rather get my insurance on another asset, because I think that we could be in for some volatility here, is my thought. What do you think?
So for me, it's purely just like, I don't want to short something that's already been beaten down pretty fucking heavily the last, few weeks. I feel like I missed the meat of the move, and like what's to gain for me coming in late to the game and trying to short something that has already been beaten. Like now, like, it's
for me,
like
it's insurance.
the meme of like, yeah. I mean, which, I think is probably fair. yeah, I don't want to long at resistance. I don't want to short like at
Yeah,
support, right? I'm trying
fair.
to avoid that.
Yeah, you just want like 10% higher. Give me 10% higher, then I can get back into my more comfortable short position. But okay, anyway, we spoke about the insurance thing. The final thing, I hope that's like a interesting conversation, trying to figure out live, the additional information that's coming to us and just having a honest, thoughtful conversation. And shout out to all the participants in the YouTube comments today. Eddie with some good questions, Justafano, see you, Calv Trades, Pondo Explorer, Takeoff Tone. Good input here. Meta, see you coming in with the good commentary as well. We appreciate the thoughts. OG Gaming as well, eBrink. Good input. Helpful to help us with the thinking live and the conclusions we come to. Right, final headline for today, so that we don't run entirely over, although we have a little bit already, is the headline about Tether. So I'm going to find that news so I can tell you what you need to know. This is the news that Tether seeks a $500 billion valuation, would rank among the world's most valuable private companies, reported by Bloomberg. They're said to be in talks with investors to raise as much as $20 billion at around a $500 billion valuation, according to a report from Bloomberg. Cantor Fitzgerald, said to be a Tether shareholder, is advising the potential deal. Citing two anonymous sources, Bloomberg reports that Tether is aiming to raise about 15 to 20 billion for about 3% of the company. Tether didn't immediately respond for comment. Tether, also some interesting commentary from Mike Dula, said Tether would be the second largest bank in the world by market cap at that valuation. So it would be worth 2 Goldman Sachs's, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, we know it's been a money printer absolutely forever. They not only take that money and buy Bitcoin, they buy gold, they buy, they create AI company stuff. They've bought part in an Italian football team.
They're the stable company.
They are trying to, buy all, they think they have a farm in Argentina. Not a farm itself, but like they bought exposure to a company which owns a lot of farmland. So this is like the Grail crypto company, really, right? And so this is pretty bullish. It shows that I think that the industry is getting valued appropriately. I think it also probably helps to give the industry and Tether a bit more of that American legitimacy that it is looking for. Remember, just not long ago, they announced, I can't remember the name that they decided on, but isn't it USDAT?
Yes.
Like USDAT.
It's just USDA.
Oh, it's just USDA. Okay. So USDA being the Tether version that is for
led by Bo
America.
Hines.
Exactly. They got Bo Hines, who's the former advisor to the former
Digital
White
Trump administration. Yeah.
Exactly. So they're getting a lot more legitimacy from this move. And just curious for your thoughts here, Brad. Any takes on the move?
I saw the question posed. It's basically the price of Ethereum, 500 billion, right? That's roughly the price of ETH right now. If you right now were given the ability to invest in one or the other, which one would you buy, ETH or Tether stock?
Tether. I just want to buy Tether. Like I would always try and buy Tether at the moment.
That's what I said. Why?
It's a money printer. It's like really simple.
Correct.
It's like there's no further discussion.
Yeah. So okay. So like that was the same reasoning for me, which is like semi-controversial given I'm building mega ETH, right? So everyone's like, "Oh my god, bro, you're fucking doing it." I was like, bro, look at the two things, right? It's like both of them are evaluated roughly the same. Tether, if you take like their fees that they've generated over the last year, that price is actually not absurd. It's like a 68 multiple on growth, which is like compared to all other stocks, like it's actually not outlandish, right? Like you have some stuff like Tesla and a few of these others that have like several hundred X multiples on like what they're actually generating for growth and whatever. And if you think the foothold that Tether has, and it is truly a stable company as opposed to a stables company, and the distinction there is that they have diversified into a bunch of things that are stable as opposed to literally just staples, right? Like, so they use staples as a product, USDT, and they use that to diversify and build up a lot of things that are stable, right? We've talked about in the past. I think it was like Paulo was on a podcast talking about one. He's a big believer in gold. He's a big believer in Bitcoin. He's a big believer in, I think it was providing power to a lot of these.
He just sounds sensible. Like all of the, how are you going to argue with any of these things?
His
Everyone
vision
else
is
is
so
trying to convince you
fucking
all kinds of
large.
nonsensical things, and he's telling you like gold is good, Bitcoin is good, power is good. It's just like, yes. Do you know what I mean?
He's the stability company. He is not a digital asset company. It's a stability company.
It's not
And
like we're
like
going to take your money, we're going to
that
do like
vision is so
crazy
fucking
venture
huge.
in crypto, do like
Yeah.
1,000x this and that. Like, no, take the money, buy the quality stuff, you know?
Yeah, across industries, right? Again, stability is what his ultimate service is across all the products that.
And I think that's why I like it so much, actually, because in this industry specifically, and we talked about this maybe on an individual level, everyone's
Across the
always
world.
going for the 1,000x. Everyone's raising $100 million crypto funds, trying to get another 1,000x all the time. Everyone's addicted to. And look, I understand why there are reasons around the world why people feel like they need to go for that bigger thing. But when you have this money printing business, like I just love, whilst all that is happening, someone just being like, no, I'm just going to go and deliver the things that people want and need, and like just specialize in the stable best things. And well, it's not ironically, but interestingly, then it ends up being the case that gold goes on an absolute tear because the things which are most stable historically end up being the most valuable and
Mhm.
putting in the biggest moves because the world is getting so unstable.
Mhm.
The most stable things end up kind of being unstable. Like the volatility on gold has gone up
Yeah.
because it's so good. So I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah.
Final
I mean,
take here, Brad.
yeah, I mean, that was my justification. Everyone else knows my position of like the position that ETH is trying to put itself in, where I don't think that it's something that's going to resonate deeply with people, the other people in the world that have a lot of money. The other people in the world that have a lot of money are used to frameworks that allow them to deploy capital that are quantifiable. Like it's traditional. It's the same thing as I called other assets. It's like that was my rationale. It's like the RR for going into something that actually has the cash flows to justify the valuation and can go higher. Like that, they're going to bid that first for sure.
Okay, I like that take. I like that conversation. Final one before we close out. Final quick conversation that I think people will 100% want a view on. What does this mean for XPL? XPL being Plasma being branded as the stablecoin chain. On Monday, they announced Plasma One, which is like this neobank style product, which is going to be an app where you can use your stablecoins and just live life with their card. Obviously, very very tight, closely affiliated with Tether, with Paolo being an investor and focusing on USDT. This is for all USDT transfers are free, so they're optimizing and building for Tether in that regard. The price has actually gone down in the last 24 hours. On the news of the card, it went up to as high as 0.8, which is $8 billion FDV. It's dropped down around 10% to 7.2 bill in the last 24 hours. Pre-market's very volatile. Can't always trust it perfectly. So do you think, is there any connection between this bigger Tether news and the Plasma price? Do you think people are viewing it, Plasma stablecoin chain, as a Tether chain still? Do you think any of that matters? Thought on the connection to Plasma at the moment.
I think it matters. I don't think it matters a lot in the early days. I think like we rerun the same thing every time one of these mainnets launch, right? So like, okay, it's coming up. There's a mainnet, there's a TGE, everything's all exciting, but like, bro, this shit takes time, right? Like all of the use case that Tether has across the world is largely entrenched through Tron. Tron has been in the trenches for literally years now, and you're not going to replace all of the point of sale devices that support Tron, the blockchain, with Plasma overnight. It's literally just going to take time. And if Plasma specifically is building to just be like some DeFi stuff and then replacing the use case of Tether, which is via Tron across the world, which is what they want. They want to be in emerging markets. They want to be like going after very much what Tron has captured. It's just going to take time. So like like if you look at how you value a lot of these blockchains, everyone's going to sit there. It's going to come out the gate and they're going to go, what the hell, man? There's no TVL. There's no transactions. It's burning $100 a day. And like that entire time, it just takes time. Same thing with IP, right? IP came out, it launched, and everyone's like, what the hell does this chain do? It's generating $24 a week. Why would you ever buy this thing at 5 billion? And then all of a sudden they drop some stuff with IP from a few different key IPs over in Korean Blockchain Week. So it's like, it just takes time. Everything's going to go through the exact same thing. Arc, like Mega will do the exact same thing when we launch. We're going to launch. People are going to go, where are the apps, bro? I thought you were all about the apps. And we're like, MFer, dude, it takes time for these apps to deploy. Like it's literally part of like our discussion for mainnet now is like, we have to try to coordinate with these apps and make sure that they're ready. And frankly, they're not going to be ready. Like they're
at
not
least some of them, right? Or try and figure out how many can go day one, how many.
Everyone has their own timelines, right? So it's just like, it is the arc of, look at Bara, same shit. Oh my God, where's the community now? No one's doing anything. There's no transactions. Like, yeah, man, give them some time. It just takes time.
Fair. Very responsible take, I think. Question in the comments. Inspire English said, where is XBL launching? It is launching tomorrow, I believe at 8 a.m. Eastern time, though everyone can check
XBL, the token or the chain? Like it goes mainnet live?
Well, that's what I mean. So I think it's live tomorrow, 8 a.m. So that will be the claim, I guess. That's when the token goes live. So we'll be on 1 hour before that, right? So we'll be able to share our thoughts. Nice. We have pretty large exposure to the token, up around, what is it now? 13, 14, if my numbers are correct, 15x, 14, 15x. We'll see. We'll see what we do. I think we'll put I've got a day of thinking to do. It's hard to hold a 14x, you know.
Yeah.
You probably just have to take some profit, or not just some significant. I kind of like the idea of you take the profit and then just put a absurd long on, and then if you get liquidated, don't worry. And if you kind of feel like you're still exposed, I don't know. I'm going to think it through. That's my initial thinking at the moment. But I think, they've got I'm pretty sure they've got a Binance listing. It's going to be live across a bunch of other major platforms as well. So that will be the main thing to look forward to tomorrow. Be watching the pre-market price in the meantime. But guys, we ran way over again. I think I answered your questions there. Inspire, I hope that's helpful. Good show. Good conversation. We appreciate you for joining us as always. Thanks, Brad, for being my co-host. Thank you for doing the little bit of the migration. If you did to YouTube, it's been fun having more people in the YouTube comments today. Thank you for the questions, the comments, the commentary, the advice, the instruction, the FUD. We like all of it. We appreciate you for participating fully, and we hope you enjoyed. We'll be back again, same time, same place tomorrow, 7 a.m. Eastern time. Hopefully live on X, hopefully live on YouTube, hopefully on all the other platforms as usual. Have a wonderful day. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.